Last week were the midterm elections in the US. This video is going to look at whether there was a red wave and what that means for your money. Elections are important. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, as business people, I think it's important to look at election results and try to understand what people are thinking so that you can determine how that will impact financial markets over the next 1 to 2 years. Let's look at where we currently stand with election results. Before the election, we had a Democrat president, House, and Senate. The election results are not going to be finalized for a while, but it is likely that the House switches to Republican control. This means that for the last 2 years, the Democrat Party could pass any new laws they wanted, and now it's going to be more difficult. The Democrats have been celebrating these election results, and you might think that is strange. How can you lose and count that as a victory? The Democrats are celebrating because many of the experts were predicting what they called the red wave. People expected a massive wave of Republican wins. The reason is because things are not good in America right now. There is record gas prices, inflation, crime, homelessness. A lot of different polls say that a majority of Americans think the country is on the wrong track, and President Biden's approval ratings are at an all-time low and getting worse. It is so bad that people expected voters to vote out the party in power. That's what happened, but not as much as people expected. The Democrats lost the House, but they still won a lot of their elections. So the Democrats have claimed this as a victory. To use an analogy, it's like we're all sitting together in a car and we're driving towards an economic cliff. And we all know we're heading towards that cliff, and we decide to stay in the car anyway. The big takeaway for me in all of the election coverage was when President Biden gave a press conference about the midterm election results. Take a listen.
You mentioned that Americans are frustrated, and in fact, 75% of voters say the country is heading into the wrong direction. Despite the results of last night, what in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently to change people's opinion of the direction of the country, particularly as you contemplate a run for president in 2024?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing. The more they know about what we're doing, the more support there is.
Biden says he's not going to change anything. He thinks this election has given him a mandate to keep things going in the same direction. So, as I continue to explain on this channel, the economy is bad and it's going to get worse. How much worse? Take a look at the Fed funds rate. We are currently sitting at 3.08%. The Federal Reserve has said that they expect the rate will continue to rise as they attempt to battle inflation. As this rate rises, the economy is likely to get worse. But keep in mind that historically, we are still at a very low rate. Things can get a lot worse. If we look at the 70s and 80s, when we were faced with similar inflation, the Fed funds rate got to 19%. So if we assume today that the Fed funds rate gets up to, say, 15%, that means that your life will be 5 times as worse. That is your takeaway as a business person. The president is not going to change anything, and things are going to get worse. The government spending is going to continue. The inflation is going to continue. Businesses and financial markets are going to suffer. The housing market is going to suffer. The stock market is going to suffer. My recommendation in this type of environment is to focus on becoming adaptable. Many people will tell you to make conservative financial decisions. That's a good recommendation most of the time, but it's not going to be enough. You need to make conservative financial decisions and be adaptable. You need to be able to react quickly to take advantage of opportunities. One example is that recessions are usually focused in different geographic areas. For instance, California and New York are really suffering right now. You might need to be prepared to pack up your family and move to where the jobs are. If you try to stay where you're at, you're going to continue to suffer. Those are my takeaways from the election. The country is going to continue in the same direction, and the economy is going to get worse. The people who are the most flexible and adaptable are going to have the best results. Another thing you could do is hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every week to help you stay on top of what is going on in the market. Now I want to hear from you. What are your takeaways from the election? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Let's go out and make some money.